All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anil Nanda, and I represent Aquaritin Turf Solutions. I welcome you to our presentation today. I have two quick slides, after which I'll hand over the presentation to Dr. Dempsey. Next slide, please. So this is how we like to think of ourselves. We manufacture and market products that deliver results above and beyond your expectations. We know this is a high bar, and I think there are only a few things that are harder than to earn the respect and trust of a turf manager. We understand that we can be of value to you only through truly innovative products, which we will continue to strive to. Next slide, please. So this is our current offering. Dr. Dempsey will talk about the fertility and wetting agent. These are, of course, products that you've already seen. Let me talk about the rest that may be new to you. So Resolve is a PGPR, plant growth promoting rhizobacteria that forms a protective barrier in the root zone to prevent root-borne disease and nematodes. On the pests, we have Shield and Dispatch for recovering turf from earthworm and ant damage, respectively. We have Thrive that works to address soil salinity and sodicity. And finally, Lakes is your environmental friendly treatment to outcompete algae and oxygenate your irrigation water. So with that said, I will pass you on to Dr. Dempsey. So Dr. Dempsey, please take it from here.
Thank you, Anil. Thanks for that. And hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I'm looking into the place in Canada there now. And the chap with the big P on his cap, can you hear me okay? Give us a thumbs up. Yes. That's good. All clear. So we're talking about some research I've done over the last few years. And specifically this year, 2 major trials I did. And talking about nanosilica from Aquaritin. Now, it's fairly new in turfgrass. Now, I have to say, I hadn't heard of it up to a few years ago, and I've been around quite a while. And it's been used in agriculture and horticulture, nanosilica, over the last few years now. And they're getting some really good results and some positive feedback on it. So regarding turfgrass, it's fairly new, and I think Aquaritin are the only ones that I know of are providing it anyway. So today, I'm going to show some of the findings from the research trials I've done over the last couple of years. So what exactly is nanosilica first, before we get into the trials, because, you know, it is a new subject. So basically, it's a form of silica. Now, everyone's familiar with silicon dioxide, well, silica anyway. But nanosilica are particles of these which are ranged from 1 to 100 nanometers. And the Aquaritin products have it's around 20 to 30 nanometers in size. So what on earth is a nanometer? Well, a nanometer is 1/1000th the size of a meter. So I'll just put that into perspective. I'm sure everyone is familiar with a millimeter. You know, we're cutting our greens at 3 mil or 4 mil. So 1 millimeter, quite small. 1,000 times smaller than a millimeter is a micrometer. And 1,000 times smaller than a micrometer is a nanometer. So a very, very small particle we're talking about here. And you could think of it, instead of a powder, nano silica would be a very, very fine, almost a dust-like particle. Comparing a grain of sand to a very fine dust. It's a very small particle size. And because of this very small size, it affects the whole properties of the silica. So because it's so small, I'll just stick these up, and it has a very, very high surface area to volume, which means that there's a lot of surface areas there which can react with other compounds, with other elements and other molecules. So big surface area to volume, which is beneficial. Another thing is that silica itself is quite inert. It doesn't respond to much reactions really, which is valuable for us because it means it can be used to piggyback other elements, other compounds and nutrients into plants without causing any sort of side effects. So it's a very good carrier, basically, for various nutrients. Now, it can be formed, nanosilica particles are formed using various processes, which I don't know much about, I have to say, but there's a list of things that are used to process the nanosilica. But it's during this process where, when they're being formed, the nanoparticles can be modified and they can be used then to interact with nutrients and elements. So you can attach various elements to these nanoparticles, and basically you're using them to piggyback or to distribute these and to deliver these other elements in a very efficient manner, in fact. So basically, nanosilica particles are acting as a nutrient carriers to deliver the essential nutrients for plant growth and other functions as well. That's it in a nutshell. So it's just a good delivery system, really. Now, silica itself has a lot of benefits. A very interesting element, I have to say. Back before I even started doing a PhD, I looked at phosphate and plant disease resistance from phosphate, but I was very strongly thinking about looking at silica instead because it was such an interesting subject. But silica itself, there's my little laser, you're going to get enhanced nutrient uptake from nanosilica, as I just said. But silica itself is very, very valuable in numerous areas for enhancing stress resilience, for example. So you're going to increase resistance to a whole range, apart from disease and pests. Silica will enhance resistance to things like environmental abiotic stresses, such as drought and heat, salinity, and also has a very interesting effect on moisture availability. Regarding soil, silica will enhance the structure and also affect the root development. So you're getting better moisture uptake from the root zones. And other studies have shown that it will enhance the growth, a better plant growth, stronger development, increased biomass. So, you might think, well, this sounds like great stuff altogether. I mean, but don't take my word for it, because there's a lot of research in plant systems showing that. But just on the subject of nanosilica nutrient delivery compared to conventional fertilizers. So if you look at, say, nitrogen, which is the most important input we're going to give out to our turf grasses, really. But the experiments have shown that you would increase the nitrogen uptake in regard when you're delivering it with nanosilica. And as we all know, applying standard normal fertilizers, you will lose a lot of it from things like volatilization or from leaching from the soil. So that you're going to reduce that. So economically and for the environment is actually a better result also. And again, just regarding the nanosilica size I was just talking about, so the Aquaritin one actually goes between 1 to 30 nanometers. So very, very small particles. and very rapid uptake and assimilation into plants. Again, just to go over the benefits of silica: increased root development, increased surface area, better uptake of major nutrients and minor micronutrients as well. You will get better root systems, better access, therefore, to water. That's a big thing these days, of course. But also it affects the plant morphology itself, along with turf grasses. It actually can help to reduce transpiration. So again, you're reducing water usage, and more efficient water usage, actually. And of course, silica is very effective at reducing stress from abiotic and biotic factors. So you get increased cell wall strength, so strengthen the cell walls so that things like pathogens have it slows the infection process, allowing the plant to respond. And so very good all around, various factors that silica is going to improve your plant growth and development. And that, as I said, there's a lot of research published regarding the use of silica and plant systems. I mean, you have things like all of these here, and also a lot of published data regarding silica, and in fact directly with turf grasses. There's one: silicon improves heat and drought stress tolerance associated with antioxidant enzyme oh my God. Do you know what? There's actually a competition when you're publishing a paper to come up with the longest and most complex title, I think. But anyway, a lot of research with silica and a lot of research with turf grass also. So as we can see, it's a promising tool that we might be able to use. Fairly new, as I said, with turf grass. So I want to get into now and show some of the stuff that I've done over the last, well, mostly this year. But I want to start with one I did back in 2023. You might have seen it before, but I want to recap on it anyway, because it gave some very interesting results. And we did this back in 23, carried out, actually it's the Royal Dublin Golf Club, just outside, about 5 minutes from Dublin city centre. Lovely links course, fescue Poa sward, tight 8 mil height of cut. That's their fairways are 8 to 10 mil, so great roll on the ball there. And it's very straightforward. We wanted to assess the effects of the Aquaritin 19, in fact, nanosilica, and compare it directly with a standard application of urea. And we also did it then in combination with a surfactant and some growth regulators as well. So we used those treatments, and we looked at things like how it affected the water content, the volumetric water, turf quality, NDVI, which is the normalized difference vegetative index, a way to assess plant health, basically. We looked at tissue leaf growth, and we looked at how it affected nutrient levels in the leaf also. So these were the treatments we went with back in 2023. They went from July to September. So the first two were the standard, straightforward comparisons. Aquaritin 19 now I have them in metric, and I have them in imperial, just in case there's anyone from America having a look also. Now, the imperial ones are a pain in the backside, I have to say. So the metric are much better. So the Aquaritin 19 at the standard rate went out at 0.42, 420 milliliters per hectare. And the urea, again, well, for us, certainly over here, a standard application for a fairway was 20 kgs per hectare. And there's the imperial ones there. Now, we also, as I said, we went out with these two treatments in combination with a surfactant and the growth regulator. And the urea here, where my laser is, went out with the full label rate of the surfactant, 12.5 liters, and the full rate of the growth regulator for there. But with the Aquaritin 19, we went out with 3/4, 75% of those rates. So we wanted to see how efficient it would be with those. So there are the treatments. And that's where we did the trial, actually. Nice big turf nursery. As you can see, very handy for me to play on. And here's the volumetric water, the mean values. This is the average over that particular trial period in 2023. So first off, over here on the left, you're looking at it, would be on your left, yeah, where the laser is. That's the average moisture in those periods. Now, statistically, no differences between the urea and the Aquaritin 19, but if you notice, slightly higher with the Aquaritin 19, slightly better moisture retention there. These here were the ones that had the surfactant, and as you can see, the surfactant did what it was supposed to do, is help to retain moisture through that summer period. Again, no significant differences between them, but, and this is the important one, I think, the interesting one, was that there was slightly more moisture here with the Aquaritin. And the big point, of course, was that we had 75% less surfactant here. So that was interesting. That was always interesting to see the average over a trial period, but I really like to look at how things change over the full period on a week-to-week basis. It gives you an idea of how the treatments respond to different environmental conditions or have different cumulative effects. This is interesting here. So we saw that there was no great differences in the average moisture level over that period. But as you can see, the blue right through to the end retained a slightly higher moisture level compared to the urea. So that was interesting. With the treatments with the surfactants, a little tighter, but again, by the end of from midpoint onwards, near enough, the Aquaritin with the 3/4 amounts of surfactant retain better moisture as well. This is the turf quality. We assessed that on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being exceptional, amazing, in fact, but didn't get 10. But as you can see, all of the nutrient inputs, as you would expect, improve the turf quality. You know, they're getting fed, so they would be better. No great differences between them and the mean values, but that's me with my pogo, sorry. If you look at these now, this is interesting also. This is the quality as it changed over that full summer period. Now, starting off here on the left, they were much the same. Matter of fact, the untreated area was actually slightly a little bit better. And we got through the first treatment application and the urea was better. And I was thinking to myself, oh, this is not looking too good here. But by the time we got to the second treatment and the cumulative effects started kicking in, from then on right through, we had better quality readings. Not statistically different, but as you can see, a better quality all the way through then. And much the same with the treatments that had the PGR and the evolved, or the surfactant in also. NDVI, anyone use? Well, I was going to talk to you, but it's not much point really because you can't answer me. But I was going to say to use NDVI meters. I used to use them when I was still a greenkeeper. I had a handheld one. And I used to be mowing greens and I'd just be taking readings to see how the health was holding up. So it's a good measure of plant health. And again, as you would expect, the nutrient inputs all had higher readings than the control. But again, over the period, it took a little while to kick in. Following the second treatment, the NDVI readings improved better than the urea on its own. Now, we also gathered the leaf cuttings and dried them and weighed them over various time periods. And so this is basically a measure of the growth, the leaf growth over that time. So here we have the urea and the Aquaritin 19. Again, much the same, no great differences there. The ones with the PGR, as you would expect, had a much tighter sward, less growth. But again, bear in mind that there's 75% less growth regulator here with the Aquaritin. And this is again over the time period. You can see where it took a while to kick in. The growth improved from about the second treatment onwards, and we had slightly more growth in the unregulated treatments compared to the urea. That's the control there. Interestingly enough, with this one, where we were regulating and using the PGR to reduce the growth, the Aquaritin actually worked even better. We had better suppression of growth with the 75% growth regulator and the Aquaritin 19 right through, right almost to the end there, as you can see. So that was just an overshot there of the effects on growth and things. But one big thing I wanted to look at was, as I said at the start, silica enhances the assimilation and uptake of nutrients. So did it. So these are we had our leaf samples analyzed, NP and K. At the start, you can see NP and K, no differences as you would expect. At the end of the trial, first of all, the urea here, the reddish colored one, yeah, there was better, obviously, as you would expect, because it's being fed with urea. There was a higher level of nitrogen compared to the control. But the Aquaritin 19 had a much higher level, even than the urea. Same, had better phosphorus uptake and potassium uptake also. So there definitely was a better uptake of nutrients following the treatment with the Aquaritin 19. Again, with the ones that were getting the growth regulator and surfactant, again, we got a better uptake of nutrients compared to the standard urea. So that was the 2023 study. The take-home points for that one was volumetric water was greater in the surfactant-treated plots. That was taken for granted. But the surfactant was applied at 75% rate with the Aquaritin compared to the full rate of urea. So you were getting better efficacy from the surfactant in combination with the Aquaritin 19. Turfgrass quality and health. Again, the Aquaritin had better health and compared to the urea alone. Leaf growth, no great differences over the period, but we did have better regulation with the Aquaritin 19. 75% rate PGR gave the same growth, if not slightly better growth suppression as the full rate of urea. Leaf tissue analysis shows, as you just saw it there, better uptake, greater accumulation of NP and K following the Aquaritin 19 compared to all the others. So that was an interesting study, short enough study, over 3 months, I think 4 months, but some good results there. And that was just from 23. Now, this is what I want to get into now. It was this year's study. So we're going to start with the Sparc trial. Anyone using Sparc there at the table? I can see you there. Come on, let's chat with the big P on his head. Anyone using it? No? Oh, there's one chap there using it. This is great. I don't normally get feedback on a webinar because sometimes I think I'm just talking to myself, but it's great to see some feedback there. Anyway, so this is the Sparc trial. I don't know who's waving there, but he looks in good humor. Anyway, this is the Sparc trial. Okay. And basically, we want to assess how sequential applications of Sparc compared to other surfactants. And we use some leading brands from here and from the States and Canada. And we compared them with Sparc. Now, I'm not showing any names, but we have Sparc here, and we have 6 other surfactants going out as well at label rates at 21-day intervals. We started applying in April, but we started gathering data from May. So May to September, treatments went out every 21 days. That's where we did it. Just the first trial we looked at the other day was in Bray, was in North Dublin. This is in South Dublin, Bray. Beautiful scenic area, as you can see. So we had the treatments, you just saw them, and we looked at all of this stuff here we looked at the effect on soil moisture using the USGA soil moisture meter tool, which I only got this year. Absolutely excellent tool, I have to say, really fast and effective. So that's really, I'd recommend getting one of them. We looked at turf quality because you might think, well, you're looking at surfactants. Why would you even bother looking at quality? Because, well, here's the thing, right? Myself and two colleagues just published 2 weeks ago a peer-reviewed paper looking at use of surfactants and how they significantly enhanced turfgrass quality and health, even during very wet periods. So surfactants have a big effect on turf quality. We looked at NDVI, dark green color index. Anyone use that? No, it's an app you can get on your phone. Big P is shaking his head there. It's an app you get. It takes a photo of the area and compares it to a standard sort of chart, and basically it gives you a digital readout of the color. So you can, apart from relying on your visual eyes to try to assess it, it gives you an index to compare with other areas. So it's a very good, useful little tool. We looked at surface firmness as well, again, using the USGA GS3 Ball and firmness tool. We looked at drought and stress, but we didn't get any. So and that didn't work. We didn't have any dry weather enough to, but also we looked at the costs, which is important as well. So there were the assessments. And let's go through the results regarding soil moisture levels. So we did 15 assessments from May right through to September. Well, from June, sorry, to September we took in. And as you can see here, that the results, no statistical differences between the treatments. Even the control was statistically the same as the rest. There was some variation, as you see. So these are all leading brands of surfactants, and they all did what they were supposed to do. They all helped retain a level of moisture in those trial areas. I've listed them with the highest level of moisture to the lowest, and as you can see, Sparc came at number 3 with 15.47%. No differences really there. As you can see, they're all 15% mean values. So they all did what they're supposed to do. And what I wanted to do was then, well, I've tried to figure out, okay, they're all much the same through the period, but how consistent were they? I wanted to figure out how consistent was the level of moisture compared to the other ones. And you can see there, it's impossible to tell from that. Even when I narrowed it down, say to Sparc versus surfactant 2 and control, or Sparc versus surfactant 5, it's very hard to tell which was performing on a more consistent level. And now here's the data, right? So there's the 15 assessment periods. There's the dates going across here, and there's the readings. So I mean, I would defy anyone to tell me which is the more consistent level of moisture. And I thought, well, then, of course, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Well, this is what statistical data analysis is for, of course. So I did. I ran the descriptive statistics for those data. And I'm going to narrow it down in a minute, but you get the number of assessments here. You get the range, which shows from the highest to the lowest. You get the mean values. But the important ones, what I wanted to look at was what's called the standard deviation and the variance. So basically what we're looking at is how much the data varied from the average. So if there's a big standard deviation or a big variation, it means there's a wide differences between the driest and the wettest readings. And it turned out that Sparc actually had the lowest variation. So basically what that meant was that the Sparc outperformed the other surfactants. It maintained a consistent soil moisture level compared to the other ones. So it was, even though the mean values were much the same across the full period, consistently the Sparc was had less variation, which is a good thing, because when you come into anything to do with golf course management, consistency is the value that you're looking for. Consistent, green speed, consistent color, consistent growth. So for consistent level of moisture, I didn't notice till I ran the data. I was very surprised, very relieved actually, to see that it was quite well. So that's one thing that came from that particular trial. Now, what about the NDVI and the turf quality? Well, we didn't get any great variation there either. All we can say was that even though they were much the same, we did get the highest readings from Sparc with NDVI and turf quality. So that's another thing that was to their advantage, I have to say. This is the dark green color index, which gives me a reading of the color. So the higher the reading, the better the color, the greener it is, which may not be a good thing really, because you don't want them glowing green. You want them to turn natural green. So Sparc did give a very good performance in that area. Surfactant 2 here had the highest green color index. The control, as you would expect, had the least. So a good color response from them all, Sparc being number 2 there. Now we looked at surface firmness, and we did get some statistical differences there. So here, the lower the reading, the firmer the surface. And as you can see,
1,000 plus the 1,000.
Sorry, someone was talking there. Don't know who it was. Anyway, so Sparc came at number 3 with firmness. The control as number 6 with the firmness. Now, you don't want them like a rock either. Obviously, you want a sort of a Goldilocks effect where not too hard, not too soft. So we got a nice surface firmness reading with Sparc. This one here, number 3 was the hardest, least firm. Sorry, now I'm not saying they were soft or anything, but you can see the effects these surfactants had. They did vary. So we got a good intermediate reading there with regards to that. What about costings, which is an important thing? So I looked at now these are Irish costings here from our this obviously it's going to vary no matter what country or location you're in. And I went with the manufacturer recommended rates, liters per hectare every 28 days. So this is what the manufacturer recommends here. And I worked out the cost per hectare, and I also have them in Canadian dollars. How's that? So basically the Sparc worked out a recommended rate of 73 Canadian dollars. Number 1, 570. Number 2 was 1050, 1080 for that surfactant 3, and on down. The nearest to it regarding costing was the surfactant 6, which was 114 Canadian dollars. So value for money, considering that Sparc performed as well as, if not better in some areas, as all of these, the value for money was a big thing there, I have to say. I mean, I know when I was a superintendent, I never had money to spend on much. I was looking for savings everywhere. So that would have been a significant impact there. Anyway, take home points for Sparc. That's a bit of a tongue twister, actually. Take home points for Sparc, where we had it outperformed the other surfactants, maintaining consistent soil moisture levels with the lowest variability. So much more. I'm making hand figures here. Less peaks and troughs with the Sparc one. Turf health and quality, significantly the same as the others, but it did have the highest number of NDVI and the highest turf quality score. Balanced firmness for playability. It wasn't too hard, wasn't too soft. Very good cost effectiveness. The trial rate that we went with would have worked out 105 Canadian dollars. label recommended rates, 45 euros per hectare. So very good value there, I would say. So consistent in moisture management, good quality, good color and firmness, and low cost. So I'm sounding like a salesman here. I'm going to have to stop doing that because I'm not here to sell anything. But that's the results we got, I have to say. And they were the Sparc ones. So let me move on to the next one. The nutrient trial that we did. Again, in the same place in Bray Golf Club, just south of Dublin. A beautiful spot also, very, very well maintained by John and the guys there. It's really presented well. So this one was to evaluate the efficacy of Aquaritin 19 and Defend at different rates, individually and in combination. We combined it with growth regulators as well, and we had a standard foliar nutrient source as well. So we're doing all that. I'll show you the treatments. So we had 7 treatments and the untreated control. This one was Aquaritin 19 at the standard 450 ml rate, tank mix at a 10 litre per hectare, and the growth regulator. Now there you can take a screenshot of them, but they're the treatments. So we had the Defend going out on its own with the tank mix as well. And then with the combination of Aquaritin 19 and the Defend at the half rates together. We had the tank mix going out on its own. I'm going to show you the tank mix now in 1 minute. And then we had different rates of 19 and Defend combinations here. And this was my favorite here, I have to say. The Aquaritin 19 and Defend and just the growth regulator, no other foliar inputs there at the 300 ml combination rate. That was my favorite one, and you see why as we go through now. They all had interesting results. So they're the treatment lists there, 7 treatment combinations going out together every 14 days, every 2 weeks, from May through to September. This is the 2900 mix or foliar that we went out with as well. Different types of nitrogen in it: calcium, sulfur, boron, iron, manganese, and zinc. Lovely mix. I've often used it myself over the years. So that was that. And actually there is where we did the trials. You can clearly see where they went out and the little buffer zones between the some of the plots there and the untreated areas. So you can see the effect straight off of color, obviously. But we looked at, again, soil moisture, NDVI, quality, growth. Now we used a laser prism to assess the growth. Anyone use the laser prisms? I actually got it from Canada, so it's very useful. Gives the height of cut. Again, the dark green color index, and we looked at speed, firmness, and surface smoothness. And we used the GS3 ball for that. Anyone got the GS3 ball there, guys, at the table? No? Anyone? Very good. Very nice to use, I have to say. And we looked at the cost as well. Okay, going okay for time. So what's this? This is the effect on volumetric water, okay? So quite a variation, even though no significant differences. But what stood out straight away to me was 1, 2, 3, 4, these 3 and these 3. They're all the ones that had the nanosilica, either from Aquaritin 19 or Defend in them. This one didn't, and that one didn't. So a big difference between the mean levels of moisture just from using silica. Bear in mind, there's no surfactants going out here. So a nice impact there from volumetric water from the treatments alone. Again, just to remind you what they were. So those 3, the first 3 has Defend and Aquaritin 19 in them, as did these 3. This one didn't. Look at this one here, which is only the 19 and Defend with no other inputs apart from the growth regulator. So a good level of moisture there also. NDVI and turfgrass quality. I'll just put them up. No, I'll go back. This is the NDVI. All of those nutrient treatments that went out, pretty much the same, all statistically better than the control. No great big surprise there, obviously. Some variation here regarding turfgrass quality. The only one that was statistically better than the control was the Aquaritin 19 at the full rate. These were all slightly better, but that was the only one that was significantly better than the control. The dark green color index, I'll just stick this up. Again, they all gave better color responses than the control. The 1, 2, and 3 were the only ones that were significantly better color than the control. The control had the lowest one. Again, so 1, 2, and 3, 19, Defend, and the combination of 19 and Defend at those rates had better color than all the others, basically. Now, they were, as you saw in the picture, they were all enhanced color, much better than the control. And this one here, which I want to highlight, just no other, only the 19 and Defend at the 300 mil rate performed very well. This is what the height of cut. Now we're trying to see how the growth regulator in combination with the treatments had an effect. So we took the prism gauge and we were measuring the heights over various assessment periods. And what we found was that, yeah, the 19 and Defend seemed to work better with the growth regulator. We got better suppression of growth compared to the others. The 4 and the control were the highest. So the combinations of growth regulator with the nano silica products certainly performed better, I have to say. Now, the big thing, well, one of the big things from this trial was we wanted to see how, if these silica inputs affected green speed. And I'll stick that up there. And as you can see, no, the green was quite slow anyway, because it's not in play, so it didn't get the same amount of tenderness and looking after that the other greens did. So we got an average of around 8 foot through the year. But as you can see, these three here, the first three, actually no, all the treatments that had silica, either Defend or 19 in them, all these three here and these three here were faster on average than the control and the standard nutrient input. So the silica was definitely helping to maintain or increase green speed. You can see it there in the treatment list, just to remind you again, 1, 2, and 3, 19 Defend and 19 and Defend combined, much faster than the standard input. Smoothness, this is the way the ball bounces up and down actually on a green. Well, actually, yeah, that's a better way of putting it. The vertical deviations of a golf ball rolling across the green, this is what the USGA say, that's what smoothness is. So the lower the value, the smoother the greens are in this particular case. And again, you can see the smoothest by far was the Aquaritin 19 at the full rate. But you can see the 3 here and the 3 here, all with the nanosilica inputs, were the smoothest compared to the control and the standard foliar. So you're getting increased green speed, you're also getting better smoothness. We also looked at the trueness. This is how the ball varies from side to side going across the green. So the trueness, again, the lower the value, the better the result. And again, you can see the Aquaritin and the Defend at the full rate had the truest values. And the other 3 here that had, the other 1, 2, 3, 4 here that had the silica inputs were also truer than the non-silica treatments. So some good results there regarding speed, smoothness, and trueness. There's no doubt about it. The cost of these treatments, how did that go? Well, obviously, it's a big factor when you're looking at your program, how much the thing's going to cost. You know, you're not made of money, I'm sure. So this is the cost of those particular treatments. Rates per hectare at 14 days, cost per litre. So the treatment cost per hectare, and again, we have them in Canadian dollars here on the side. So treatment 1 was 348. Treatment 2 and 3 were the same, 348 Canadian dollars. The standard tank mix would have worked out at about $228. But if you go down here to number 7, which is just the Aquaritin 19 Defend and the Growth Regulator, that was 167 Canadian dollars. So that's by far the cheapest. And that would have been my pick of the lot, because it's cheaper for a start, but it performed just as well in areas of moisture retention, turf quality, NDVI, speeds, smoothness, and trueness. It was on par with all the other treatments, and by far the cheapest as well. So just to recap on that particular thing, soil moisture, all the plots treated with nanosilica produced higher mean moisture levels compared to those without. The NDVI, the nanosilica, produced highest values. Treatment 4, the standard foliar without nanosilica, recorded the lowest NDVI amongst the pre-treatment programs. Quality ratings were the same. Color index, again, good color responses from all the treatments. Some variations in height of cut, but no significant differences. Okay, and again, just to reiterate, are we still running here? We are. Anyway, okay, just to go back over the speed again, the nanosilica had better speeds, better trueness, and better smoothness. As you can see. Anyway, the green speed, smoothness, and trueness. Treatments with nanosilica consistently delivered the highest green speeds, and the standard foliar treatment fell short. Cost effectiveness, the cost per hectare ranged from 103 to 214. Treatment 1 had the best overall results. Treatment 7 at 103 euros was the most cost-effective option, and it performed comparably with the volumetric water quality and NDVI. So I would say number 7, the 19 and Defend together, had the best value for money. Now, just want to give a quick update on what we're doing at the moment, because we have 2 trials running in the greenhouse. A quick update. We're looking at Aquaritin 19 and Defend to reduce drought stress and wilt. So basically, we're running this in the greenhouses, and we're looking at drying down various plants in the greenhouse. They've been treated with Aquaritin 19 and Defend at different rates, and we're waiting to dry them down, and it's taking time. We should have done this in the summer when we had good high temperatures in the greenhouse, but we're getting there eventually. And the second one is we want to quantify the amount of water it takes to maintain a standard level of moisture. So basically, again, we're in the greenhouse. We're looking at treatments of Aquaritin 19 and Defend. We applied it, we're drawing them down, and we're assessing the amount of water it takes to maintain 15%. Again, these are just started, they're ongoing. It's taken longer than what I thought it would. As I say, I should have done it in the summer, but we'll get there. We have some interesting results already coming from it. So this is the wilt trial in the greenhouse. The moisture levels are all the same starting off when we went into the greenhouse. Now, bear in mind, there's no surfactants being applied here. But as you can see, the treated plants, the treated root zones are retaining much more moisture than the untreated controls. So interesting results coming through. Watch this space. It's only starting off, really, so we'll have a lot more results to show. Again, they're having an effect on the NDVI, the quality and the color. The controls are here, so they're all having a positive effect here. And we're getting near time to wrap up now. I hope you're still there, tuned in. And just to go back over the main points of this year's 2025's results, with the Sparc, we had superior moisture consistency, more consistent level of moisture right through the summer with them. We had the highest NDVI in turf quality scores compared to all the others. We had balanced surface firmness, good balance of not too hard, not too soft. The cost effectiveness was very good. The standard rate of the label rate of 73 Canadian dollars compared to up to a few hundreds with the other ones. So that was a very good response there. So consistency and moisture management, superior quality, color, firmness, and low cost. That's what we can say about Sparc from that particular study this year. I thought it was very interesting results and good high quality. Very optimistic about using that now. I know a lot of people, a few guys, friends of mine using it, and they're very satisfied with it. Regarding the nutrient trials that we did with 19 and Defend, all the nanosilica treated plots had higher mean moisture levels. So it has, as I said at the very start, silica will enhance moisture, soil structure, and less transpiration. So you're getting better results of your limited amounts of moisture available. NDVI outperformed untreated controls. Highest level was the Aquaritin 19 at the full rate. The lowest rate was the standard foliar, similar with the turfgrass quality. Dark the DGCI, all treatments improved color. Aquaritin and 19 were the only ones that was statistically better than the control. Height of cut, no great differences there, but better suppression of growth from the PGR when used with the 19 and Defend. Green speeds, we had increased in speed from all the nanosilica inputs. The 19 and Defend really worked well there. Better smoothness, better trueness, and overall, we outperformed the other non-nanosilica treatments, I have to say, in those areas. My own personal recommendation, I'm not sure, I suppose that's what I found anyway, was treatment 7, which was the combination of 19 and Defend at 400 mil or 300 mil, I can't remember now, but the combination of the 19 and Defend, the growth regulator and no other input, it performed very well. Good cost of effectiveness. If you wanted higher quality results, go with the dearer options of treatments 1 and 2. And I'm afraid that's it now. I think we've got to the end of our time anyway. So here is some, what do we call them? Contacts. There's mine. There's Aquaritin's, and then these are Boyd's contacts here. Any questions? Those research, the full reports would be available from Aquaritin if you want to read them. You can ask them for that, and that's about it.
They're actually on the website.
They're actually on the website. There you go. Did you hear that? On aquaritin.com or whatever it is website.
Aquaritin
They're all available there, and yeah. So that's it for today, I think. And hopefully you enjoyed it and found something of interest. I found now as a superintendent, when I was first given this little bottle of Aquaritin to try out, I thought, oh, what's this? This is more jungle juice, is it? But no, it performed very well for me. And I have to say, really impressed with it. So there you go.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Dempsey. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We wish you all the very best and hopefully see you in Orlando. Take care. Bye.